Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Rezael deck profile for post-Destined Showdown. We got some new support for the Rezael deck in the 4th Cardfight Vanguard Divines booster set. Some really awesome support that definitely does help with the Faded One of Miracles and its setup power. I actually finally completed all that I was looking for the deck as well, so I could say the Rezael deck that I'm currently using is at the suitable playstyle that I want for it, and with it we've mixed in some of the new cards from set 4 as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off with the Ride deck, we have our energy generator. Along with that, our starter is Wings of Aspiration. So when rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Patrol of Gusts Ventesta. When rode upon by Knight of Great Advance Ascensior, call this card to rearguard and soul charge 1. With its rearguard ability during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on his card name, it gets plus 2,000. So it's a 10k booster or attacker, which can help to take out intercept units if need be while you're on Rezael. With our grade 2 being Knight of Great Advance Ascensior, when rode upon by a grade 3 with Rezael on its card name, choose up to one grade 2 or less card from your drop and call it to rearguard. So more rearguard setup, which is what the entire basis of the Rezael deck is meant to do. Our grade 3 is Faded One of Miracles Rezael. This deck is definitely going to change a good amount when we get set 5 and the new Rezael form, but for now our main focus is still the Faded One of Miracles Rezael, along with the copy from the Ride deck. We run 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. With this card on Vanguard, when it attacks a Vanguard, you can counterblast 1, choose up to 2 cards from your drop with different grades and a total grade less than or equal to the number of cards in your damage zone and call them to rearguard. And the Divine skill lets you return all critical from your drop to the deck, shuffle it, and this unit gets drive +1 until the end of turn. Until the end of this fight, you cannot ride units without Rezael in its card name, and you get when your damage reveals a trigger other than heal. If your damage has 5 or more cards, choose a card from your damage and heal it, and you lose this ability. So it's an extra amount of protection. It's the Faded One of Miracles ability, making a miracle happen by being able to use a trigger other than a heal or an over trigger to be able to heal that last piece of damage. And also with this setup, with its original ability being grades less than or equal to your damage, we have the new grade 0, the Knight of Perspicacity catalyst that we can use for additional setup on the rearguard as well. For our other grade 3, we run 1 copy of Gigantic Masher, just the initial power that this card can gain when your unit was placed on the rearguard by the ability of your Vanguard with Rezael on its card name. This unit gets plus 15,000. So on its own, if you Persona Ride as well, you can have a 38k attack power grade 3 on its own, and it can also count when you call it and multiple other units at the same time with Rezael's ability also. For the grade 2s, we run 4 copies of Knight of Gentle Beauty Nobia. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on its card name, counterblast 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from among them, call it to rearguard, put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. If it is your battle phase, reveal it and put it into your hand instead of calling it. So it gives you more resources to add to your hand, and having a Soul Blast for this card when it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on its card name, to have this unit get plus 10,000 to the end of the battle. So just a better chance for it to be able to hit into your opponent's Vanguard on its own without needing to use any boosted power. The other grade 2s that we run in the deck are also 3 copies of Knight of Bowstreaks Nobaris. When placed on rearguard by the grade 3 or greater Vanguard ability, it gets plus 10,000 to end of turn. And at the end of the battle, this unit attack. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on its card name, Energy Blast 3, put this unit into the soul, draw a card, and look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or bottom of the deck. More setup so you know what the next card may potentially be when you take a damage from your opponent, so you know that you can go into the 6 damage heal with a guaranteed trigger to heal you off of that play. 3 copies of our Divine Sister Biscotti as well, with this card having the initial ability when it's placed on the guard circle or discard from hand while riding from the Ride deck to Energy Blast 3, Counterblast 1, and draw a card. And when it's placed on rearguard, if you Persona Road this turn, same Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, put it on the top of the deck, and put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order, giving you more of a setup for those cards, and you may call it to rearguard as well if it is not the battle phase. The last of the grade 2s that I run is the one copy of Forefront Knight, Tethfelt. When placed on rearguard other than by a unit's ability, if you played a normal order this turn, Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose the one grade less than equal to your Vanguard from among them, reveal it, call it to rearguard, and when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have 4 or more units, it gets plus 10. So this could be a 4th copy of Biscotti if you wish for this final lineup. I just like the initial spot for this card because we do run the order option for our Gradius Gradel to give it the initial search power as well if we have this unit, but it's just a one-off tech for the additional plus 10k as well using our Soul Blast ability. For the grade 1s, 4 copies of Sargon. When this unit boosts, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, or you played an order this turn, this unit gets plus 5 to the end of that battle, and at the end of that battle, retire this unit, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of the deck. So search power, depending on this card, it can give you more of a resource setup, a very, very good card as well for that setup. If you didn't want to run this card because of its price, you could always replace it with a Gargon, which is just a 5k power and shield unit, but a little more budget friendly for those looking to run it in the deck overall. But I would say Sargon is definitely, very much needed for a lot of Keter decks that are playing now for this initial setup. Just having more rear guards than your opponent is the main play you want to go for with your Sargon as well, being able to take out a rear guard and then having the full field that the Rezael deck is meant to play off of. And also the 3 copies of Aerial Sage on rearguard during the battle. This unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And on rearguard, when it boosts a grade 3 or greater with Rezael on its card name, discard a card from your hand and countercharge 1, and this unit gets plus 2 until the end of that battle. It's your main go-to power for countercharging in the deck. You do have a good number of cards that counter blast, like Biscotti, and also your Novia and your Rezael itself. So you'll be relying this card on the back row center rearguard when it boosts your Rezael, giving up a hand card to make up for the counterblast to be able to use other ones during the attack step as well. And also the 3 copies of Gragon. Same premise as our Aerial Sage. If your unit was placed by the ability of your Vanguard Divine Skill, this unit gets on rearguard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Retire this unit, countercharge, and it gets plus 5,000. The red text is the countercharge option, but it has the plus 5 to be able to give the boosted power a 13k boost before you retire it for its own countercharge. So with Aerial Sage and Gragon, you'll have plenty of ways to countercharge in the deck. And also the 3 copies of Sethlon for the Sentinel spot, and the 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude. So you just have the non-discard cost for your Sentinel, and the additional option when going up against a triple drive attack. For the grade 0s, the new card in the deck is the Knight of Perspicacity, Catalyst. When this unit's placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on its card name, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 5 until the end of turn. If this unit is placed by your Vanguard's ability, it gets plus 10 instead of plus 5. So with your Catalyst being able to be called off, even if you have only 1 damage, you can call up to 2 units because you can call out the grade 0 and a grade 1 off of Rezael, giving you the initial plus 10k power. And from the back row rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezael on its card name, this unit gets intercept and can intercept from the back row. So an additional 5k to be able to intercept with, and then placing it in the drop zone to then be able to give you an option to call it out the following turn as well. With the last of our cards before the triggers being the 1 copy of Gradius Gradel. So we have more of a Persona Ride option. And for our trigger lineup, we're going with the 8 critical, just with the Faded 1 of Miracles setup. You want as many crits as you can possibly run in the deck. The 4 copies of Blade Feather Dragon and the 4 copies of Shivel Mia for this lineup, with our other triggers being the 3 draw triggers, the Protection Mage Pierogi, so you have the 5k shield, and just more hand consistency using this card. Our heals being the 4 copies of Aronmus, so we have more of a fitting lineup to use with the triggers as well for the aesthetic of the deck. With our over trigger being the Spiritual King of Ignition Valnut. I really do like the restand power that this card provides for the rearguard attacks to use against your opponent as well. That's why I keep it in the deck over Ida's Faro and a Martinoa. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just some of the additional updates that we've received for multiple decks from Set 4 Destined Showdown, and definitely happy with now having the full playset of Sargon to use in this deck as well. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.